What's up, y'all? It's your boy R to the A to the S. Yes, Roz here, but see what calls the blog. Today I want to talk about the topic, why the lack of support for Bizzle's Same Love response, as well as Linne's false teachers. I saw an interview, well, I heard an interview with with DJ Essence on Wado's show, and he gave a response that he didn't feel there was a lot of support within the community for people who, in the past who supported these types of songs. Like, there wasn't a lot of support from it. Bizzle, he thought, again, him standing up for God in this area when it comes to the homosexual agenda, that he would receive a lot of support. And I guess a lot of people he thought that he would receive support from didn't give him that support. And I want to get into, reasons or why I think that is, and I definitely want to hear your opinion on it. Now, when it comes to the whole Bizzle song, I think for a lot of people, it's just not on the top priority list. And so if it's not on the top priority list, it's not something that they're going to be like, yes, I'm glad you spoke up, I'm glad you said something. And that could be for a variety of reasons I'm going to get into. But I think one of them is the things that we're passionate about, that those things are going to manifest in our lives. And for example, I've talked about this before on the show. Our church has a pregnancy center. The issue of life is a top priority in our church. It's a black church. In the city of Detroit, we have a lot of black churches, but I can count on my hand the number of pregnancy centers that we have in the city of Detroit, particularly, with black churches, which we're mostly black city. Now, if you were to ask the average black pastor in Detroit, like, what's the number one issue facing, black people in Detroit, I can almost guarantee you that they're not going to say the issue of life or abortion or anything like that, because it's not really a top priority issue. They might say, yeah, well, the Bible teaches, abortion is wrong, things of that sort. But as far as where they put their money at, that's not going to be a real priority issue. They might put money into, they might say, education. We need people more educated. We might need some black pastors in Detroit might say sex education, but they might go passing out condoms and teaching safe sex, quote unquote. You have a lot of variety of issues, but when it comes to that issue of life, that's not a top priority. And I think when it comes to Bizzle's song, I think for a lot of, black people, black Christians in the Christian hip hop community, they might say, yeah, that's an important issue, but would you say that that's like a top priority issue? They probably would not. And that could be for a variety of reasons. It could be because they fear persecution. And let's be honest, a lot of us are not going to jump into something that, hey, we're going to get persecuted for, we're going to be hated for, we're going to be called judgmental Christians. You're not going to be like, yes, I support a song that's, standing up for God in that area, because there's a fear of persecution. I think another area, we do have to look at, money-wise, financial-wise. You get painted that way in the media as a hate monger, that can mess up some potential opportunities that some people might have in the mainstream. And they're not going to be like, hey, I support that. And then when it comes to, getting into some areas in the mainstream, you were up there saying, I support this song, and then you're viewed as a hate monger and stuff like that. They're going to like, no, that risk is just too much. I'd rather just stay away from that, maybe silently support it, but I'm not going to openly support this song. And I think that's part of the issue as well. When it comes to, I think the false teacher song, I think that's that's complicated as well. Obviously, along with persecution, will be a persecution within the church. I mean, let's keep it real. Let's keep it 100. A lot of churches that have the money teach that theology that Shai is talking about. So again, it's like that does not make sense to speak out against that, and then you get persecuted and you're viewed as somebody who's dividing and things of that sort. That's not a risk some people are going to take. Another thing, as I talked about with priorities, some people might say that, hey, it's not an important priority. And then with other people, I think they will say, hey, this is not the proper way to address these topics. To talk about homosexuality in a song is going to do more harm than good. Or to talk about false teacher songs, it's going to do more harm than good. So why waste this time on these songs? Now, I personally think that's some bad reasoning, because you think about it, songs have sparked revolution. Songs have motivated people to do certain things. You look at, in back in the 70s with Marvin Gaye, the whole Vietnam War and his view on that war. I mean, that song sparked, people to act in certain ways. Certain songs led to protests. You go to the civil rights movement, we shall overcome. That song helped spark that movement in a which was from an old gospel song. So I don't have a problem with songs addressing topics, because I think it does bring about revolution. It can bring about change. But I think a lot of people are like, nah, that might mess up the money. That might mess up relationships that I might have with people. Maybe it might mess up if you're trying to reach the gay community and you say you're behind the song and people don't understand the song fully. I can't support that, and then it might mess up a relationship I have with the gay community, or it might mess up a relationship I have with the mainstream media that I'm trying to build a relationship with them. But if I say I support a song like this, I don't want to be labeled as this hater and things of this sort, so I'm not going to support that song. I think that's some of the reasoning in it, but I could be wrong. So that's why I want to hear, what are your thoughts on this? Why do you think there is this lack of support for these songs? And again, like I said, I think for the Shai song, it's just a lot of people behind the scenes, a lot of people with money, they go to the churches that Shai is talking about. So they're not going to support, or it's going to mess up the business. So that's my thoughts. What are your thoughts? See what costs the blog. Kobe Sets on the Mount. Trip House.